up, everybody? JT Dangerous here once again. I am here to do my Week 11 college football predictions. Now, with Week 10 in the books, we are now into Week 11 of the college football season with just 3 weeks left to go. So I am very excited to do my Week 11 predictions for you guys, and I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, our record coming into Week 11 after a fantastic Week 10, we went 16-8. So we're coming in Mamma Mia hot right now, and I'm looking to keep it that way. So hopefully in this video we will continue the red hot winning ways. We're on an 8-week winning streak. Hopefully in this video we make it 9 weeks. Hopefully. Now this is the first video in a combined 5-video day on the channel today and this week, guys. So hope you guys will be able to watch all these videos. Always show your support on the channel by watching these videos, super kicking those like buttons, hitting that notification bell, commenting your picks, your opinions, and representing your college football teams in the comment sections down below. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel today, is a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy, pick to go in if you're a huge fan of college football like myself, and you're ready for Week 11 of the college football season. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I'm JT Dangerously. Welcome to the club, because this club is just 2. Whoop, whoop. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these Week 11 college football predictions. Starting off on Wednesday night with a MAC East rivalry showdown between the Miami of Ohio Redhawks heading to Ohio to face the Ohio Bobcats. Now, this is the 96th meeting between Miami of Ohio and Ohio. Miami of Ohio leads the old-time series 53-40-2. Now, the Redhawks won last year's meeting over the Bobcats, and the Bobcats are looking to defeat the Redhawks for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 10. Both teams are coming in at 4-4, and both teams are looking to get a big win here on Wednesday night. So, coming from me in this MAC East rivalry showdown, I may get this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the Redhawks of Miami of Ohio to get it done on the road and defeat the Bobcats of Ohio. And now the next matchup, which also happens on Wednesday night. It is an American Athletic Conference East rivalry showdown between the Temple Owls heading to South Florida to face the South Florida Bulls. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Temple and USF. Temple leads the old-time series 3-2. Now, the Owls won the meeting last year over the Bulls, and the Bulls are looking to defeat the Owls for the first time in 2 years. Now, both teams are also coming off byes in Week 10. Temple's coming in at 5-3. USF is coming in at 4-4, and both teams are looking to get a big win here on Wednesday night. So, coming from me in this American Athletic Conference East rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Temple Owls to get it done on the road and defeat the South Florida Bulls in a close one. And now the next matchup, which happens on Friday. It is another American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown between the Central Florida Knights heading to Tulsa to face the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Now this is the 11th meeting between UCF and Tulsa. Tulsa leads the old-time series 7-3. Now, the Golden Hurricanes have won the last 2 meetings against the Knights, and the Knights are looking to defeat the Golden Hurricanes for the first time since 2014. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 10s in the American Athletic Conference. UCF is coming off their victory over Houston on Saturday, coming in at 7-2, and Tulsa's coming off their loss to Tulane on Saturday, coming in at 2-7. So, coming from me in this American Athletic Conference rivalry showdown on Friday night, I'm going to go with the UCF Knights to get it done on the road and defeat the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. And now the next matchup, which also happens on Friday night. It is a Pac-12 North rivalry showdown between the Washington Huskies heading to Corvallis to face the Oregon State Beavers. Now this is the 104th meeting between Washington and Oregon State. Washington leads the old-time series 65-34-4. Now, the Huskies have won the last 7 meetings against the Beavers, dating all the way back to 2012, and the Beavers are looking to defeat the Huskies for the first time since 2011. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 10s in the Pac-12 Conference. Washington's coming off their loss to Utah on Saturday, coming in at 5-4, and Oregon State's coming off their big blowout victory over Arizona on Saturday, coming in at 4-4. So coming from me in this Pac-12 North rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one's tough. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Jacob Eason and the Washington Huskies to rebound and bounce back on the road and defeat the Oregon State Beavers in a very close shootout. And now the Saturday slate, starting off with another Pac-12 South rivalry showdown between the USC Trojans heading to Arizona State to face the Arizona State Sun Devils. Now this is the 35th meeting between USC and Arizona State. USC leads the old-time series 21-13. Now the Sun Devils got the victory over the Trojans last year, and the Trojans are looking to defeat the Sun Devils for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 10s. USC's coming off their loss to the Oregon Ducks on Saturday night. They're coming in at 5-4, and Arizona State's coming off a bye in Week 10, coming in at 5-3. So coming from me in this Pac-12 South rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one's tricky. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Herm Edwards and the Arizona State Sun Devils to get it done at home and become bowl eligible with this victory and defeat the USC Trojans in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Kansas State Wildcats heading to Austin to face the Texas Longhorns. Now this is the 20th meeting between Kansas State and Texas. Kansas State leads the old-time series 10-9. Now the Longhorns have won the last 2 meetings against the Wildcats, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Longhorns for the first time since 2016. Now both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Kansas State's coming off their victory over Kansas on Saturday, coming in at 6-2, and Texas is coming off a bye in Week 10, coming in at 5-3. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, ooh, this one's going to be good. I mean, Sam Ehlinger versus Skylar Thompson. This one's going to be really good, and I can see it being a shootout because we all know the model in the Big 12 Conference. All offense, no defense. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Sam Ehlinger and the Texas Longhorns to get it done at home and defeat the Kansas State Wildcats in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC rivalry showdown between the Wake Forest Demon Deacons heading to Lane Stadium to face the Virginia Tech Hokies. Now this is the 38th meeting between Wake Forest and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech leads the old-time series 24-12-1. Now, Wake Forest won the last meeting all the way back in 2014, and the Hokies are looking to defeat the Demon Deacons for the first time since 2011. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Wake Forest is coming off their victory over North Carolina State on Saturday, coming in at 7-1, and Virginia Tech is coming off their loss to Notre Dame on Saturday, coming in at 5-3. So, coming from me in this ACC rivalry showdown, who would have thought Wake Forest would be 7-1 this season? That is a shock for me in 2019 in the ACC. But coming from me, I'm going to go with those Wake Forest Demon Deacons to get it done on the road and defeat the Virginia Tech Hokies in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown known as the Textile Bowl between the reigning national champions, the Clemson Tigers, heading to North Carolina State to face the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Now this is the 88th meeting between Clemson and North Carolina State. Clemson leads the old-time series 58-28-1. Now the Tigers have won the last 7 meetings against the Wolfpack dating all the way back to 2012, and the Wolfpack are looking to defeat the reigning national champions for the first time since 2011. Now both teams are coming off very good Week 10s. Clemson's coming off their victory over a cupcake opponent in Wofford on Saturday, coming in perfect at 9-0. And North Carolina State is coming off their loss to Wake Forest on Saturday, coming in at 4-4. So coming from me in this year's Textile Bowl, the ACC Atlantic, can another North Carolina team give Clemson a run for their money? We all remember North Carolina gave Clemson quite possibly their biggest scare of the season. So let's see if North Carolina State can actually give them a fight. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, Dabo Swinney, and the Clemson Tigers to get it done on the road and remain undefeated and defeat the North Carolina State Wolfpack in a very, very close one. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Missouri Tigers heading to Athens to face the Georgia Bulldogs. Now this is only the 9th meeting between Missouri and Georgia. Georgia leads the old-time series 7-1. Now the Bulldogs have won the last 5 meetings against the Tigers dating all the way back to 2014, and Mizzou is looking to defeat Georgia for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 10s. Missouri's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 5-3, and Georgia's coming off their big victory over Florida on Saturday, coming in at 7-1. I guess I was wrong in picking against Georgia. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, With Georgia's victory over Florida, I think Georgia is definitely in the driver's seat to make it to the SEC title game. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Jake Fromm from State Farm and those Georgia Bulldogs to get it done at home and defeat the Missouri Tigers in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is a huge Big Ten rivalry showdown between the Penn State Nittany Lions heading to Minnesota to face the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now this is only the 15th meeting between Penn State and Minnesota. Penn State leads the all-time series 9-5. Now the Nittany Lions won the last meeting all the way back in 2016, and the Golden Gophers are looking to defeat the Nittany Lions for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming off byes in Week 10. Both teams are coming in undefeated at 8-0, and both teams are looking to remain undefeated in the Big Ten Conference. So coming from me in this huge Big Ten rivalry showdown between two undefeated teams, this is Minnesota's biggest game of the season, for sure, because they've beaten some good teams this season. They are bowl eligible, but this is their toughest team to date this year. So coming from me, I'm going to go with the Penn State Nittany Lions to get it done on the road and remain undefeated and defeat the Minnesota Golden Gophers in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC rivalry showdown between the Louisville Cardinals heading to Miami to face the Miami Hurricanes, or the U. Now this is the 14th meeting between Louisville and Miami. The U leads the all-time series 9-3-1. Now the Cardinals have won the last 3 meetings against the Hurricanes dating all the way back to 2006, and the Canes are looking to defeat the Cardinals for the first time since 2004. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 10s. Louisville's coming off a bye. They're coming in at 5-3, and the Hurricanes are coming off their victory over Florida State on Saturday, coming in at 5-4. I guess I was wrong in picking against Miami in that game. So coming from me in this big ACC rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one's a tricky pick. Both teams are good this season, but coming from me, I'm making this one wrong, but I'm going to go with the U to get it done at home and defeat the Louisville Cardinals in a very close one. And now the next matchup. It is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish heading to Durham, North Carolina to face the Duke Blue Devils. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Notre Dame and Duke. Notre Dame leads the all-time series 3-2. Now, Duke won the last meeting all the way back in 2016, and the Irish are looking to defeat the Blue Devils for the first time since 2007. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Notre Dame is coming off their victory over Virginia Tech on Saturday, coming in at 6-2, and Duke is coming off a bye in Week 10, coming in at 4-4. So, coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to go with Ian Book, Brian Kelly, and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame to get it done on the road and defeat the Duke Blue Devils. And now the next matchup. It is a Mountain West Conference Mountain rivalry showdown between the Wyoming Cowboys heading to the Smurf Turf to face my Boise State Broncos. Now this is the 14th meeting between Wyoming and Boise State. Boise State leads the all-time series 12-1. Now, my Broncos have won the last 2 meetings against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are looking to defeat my Broncos for the first time since 2016. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Wyoming is coming off a bye. They're coming in at 6-2, and my Broncos are coming off a big victory over San Jose State on Saturday night, coming in at 7-1. So, coming from me in this Mountain West Conference Mountain rivalry showdown, ooh, man, this one's going to be good. But coming from me, I'm going to go with my Boise State Broncos to get it done on Smurf Turf and defeat the Wyoming Cowboys in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Tennessee Volunteers heading to Lexington to face the Kentucky Wildcats. Now this is the 115th meeting between Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee leads the all-time series 80-25-9. Now the Volunteers won the meeting last year over the Wildcats, and the Wildcats are looking to defeat the Volunteers for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Tennessee's coming off their victory over UAB on Saturday, coming in at 4-5, and the Wildcats are coming off a bye. They're coming in at 4-4. Now these two teams do know each other in college basketball. Their rivalry with Coach Calipari and Tennessee is very well known when it comes to college basketball, but their rivalry in football is also pretty much rich with history. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, Ooh, man, this one's tricky. But coming from me, I'm going to go with the Kentucky Wildcats to get it done at home and defeat the Tennessee Volunteers in a close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Iowa State Cyclones heading to Norman to face my Oklahoma Sooners. Now this is the 84th meeting between Iowa State and Oklahoma. Oklahoma leads the all-time series 75-6-2. Now my Sooners won the meeting last year over the Cyclones, and the Cyclones are looking to defeat my Sooners for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off byes in Week 10. Iowa State's coming in at 5-3, and my Sooners are coming in at 7-1. So this game is definitely big. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, we all know as Sooners fans, as myself as a Sooners fan, this game is big because we all know next week in Week 12, it's my Oklahoma Sooners facing off against Baylor for control of first place in the Big 12 Conference. So hopefully my Sooners will not look ahead to next week's big matchup. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, Lincoln Riley, and my Oklahoma Sooners to get a big win at home and defeat the Iowa State Cyclones. And now the next matchup. It is an ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown between the Florida State Seminoles heading to Boston College to face the Boston College Eagles. Now this is the 16th meeting between Florida State and Boston College. Florida State leads the all-time series 11-5. Now the Seminoles won the last meeting last year over the Eagles, and the Eagles are looking to defeat the Seminoles for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 10s in the ACC Conference. Florida State's coming off their loss to the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday, coming in at 4-5, and Boston College is coming off their big victory over Syracuse on Saturday, coming in at 5-4. So coming from me in this ACC Atlantic rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Boston College Eagles to get it done at home and defeat the Florida State Seminoles. And now the next matchup. It is another Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Texas Tech Red Raiders heading to Morgantown, West Virginia to face the West Virginia Mountaineers. Now this is only the 9th meeting between Texas Tech and West Virginia. West Virginia leads the all-time series 6-2. Now the Mountaineers have won the last 5 meetings against the Red Raiders dating all the way back to 2014, and the Red Raiders are looking to defeat the Mountaineers for the first time since 2013. Now both teams are coming off very different Week 10s. Texas Tech is coming off a bye. They're coming in at 3-5, and West Virginia is coming off their loss to Baylor on Thursday, coming in also at 3-5. So coming from me in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the West Virginia Mountaineers to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And now the next matchup. It is a huge Big 10 West rivalry showdown, and it is the battle for the Heartland Trophy between the Iowa Hawkeyes heading to Madison to face the Wisconsin Badgers. Now this is the 93rd meeting between Iowa and Wisconsin. Wisconsin leads the all-time series 47-43-2. Now the Badgers have won the last 3 meetings against the Hawkeyes, and the Hawkeyes are looking to defeat the Badgers for the first time since 2015. Now, both teams are coming off byes in Week 10. Both teams are coming in at 6-2, and both teams are looking to rebound and bounce back. So coming from me in the battle for the Heartland Trophy in the Big 10 West, man, Jonathan Taylor did not look good against Ohio State a week ago, and Ohio State shut him down. So hopefully that did not hurt his Heisman stock, but if he wants to get back in the Heisman race, he has to have a big number here. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor and the Wisconsin Badgers to come off a bye with a big home victory and defeat the Iowa Hawkeyes in a shootout. And now the next matchup. It is a Pac-12 North rivalry showdown between the Washington State Cougars heading to Berkeley to face the Cal Golden Bears. Now this is the 81st meeting between Washington State and Cal. Cal leads the all-time series 47-28-5. Now the Cougars won the meeting last year over the Golden Bears, and the Golden Bears are looking to defeat the Cougars for the first time in 2 years. Now both teams are coming off byes in Week 10. Both teams are coming in at 4-4, and both teams are looking to get a big victory here in the Pac-12 North. So coming from me in this Pac-12 North rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Washington State Cougars to come off a bye with a big road victory here and defeat the Cal Golden Bears in a really close one. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten rivalry showdown between the Illinois Fighting Illini heading to East Lansing to face the Michigan State Spartans. Now this is the 47th meeting between Illinois and Michigan State. Sparty leads the old-time series 26-18-2. Now the Fighting Illini won the last meeting all the way back in 2016, and Sparty's looking to defeat the Illini for the first time since 2013. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Illinois is coming out their victory over Rutgers on Saturday, coming in at 5-4, and Michigan State's coming off a bye in Week 10, coming in at 4-4. Now we all know Michigan State's big game is next week against Michigan, so Michigan State cannot look ahead. So coming from me in this Big Ten rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the Michigan State Spartans to get it done at home and not look ahead against Michigan next week and defeat the Fighting Illini of Illinois. And now the next matchup. It is a Big Ten East rivalry showdown between the Maryland Terrapins heading to Columbus to face the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now this is only the 6th meeting between Maryland and Ohio State. Ohio State has won all 5 meetings against the Terrapins since 2014, and the Terrapins are looking to defeat the Buckeyes for the very first time in school history. Now, both teams are coming out very different Week 10s. Maryland's coming off the loss to Michigan on Saturday, coming in at 3-6, and Ohio State's coming off a bye in Week 10, coming in undefeated at 8-0. So coming from me in this Big Ten East rivalry showdown, man, I don't know if any team is going to stop Ohio State in the Big Ten. I mean, I would think maybe Penn State or Minnesota. Michigan, I don't even know if Michigan can stop them. So coming from me, I'm going to go with Justin Fields and the Ohio State Buckeyes to get it done at home, remain undefeated, and defeat the Maryland Terrapins. OHIO. And now the next matchup. It is a Big 12 rivalry showdown between the Baylor Bears heading to TCU to face the TCU Horned Frogs. Now this is the 115th meeting between Baylor and TCU. TCU leads the old-time series 55-52-7. Now the Horned Frogs have won the last 4 meetings against the Bears, and the Bears are looking to defeat the Horned Frogs for the first time since 2014. Now, both teams are coming off very different Week 10s. Baylor's coming off their victory over West Virginia on Thursday night, coming in undefeated at 8-0. And TCU's coming off the loss to Oklahoma State on Saturday, coming in at 4-4. Now, this matchup is big because we all know next week in Waco, Baylor will be facing Oklahoma for possession of first place in the Big Ten Conference. And as an Oklahoma Sooner fan, I need Baylor to win this game because I want Baylor at their best next week. And I want them to be undefeated. So when we beat them, we will take possession of first place in the Big 12 Conference. So I'm really hoping Baylor gets it done. So coming from me, in this Big 12 rivalry showdown, I'm going to go with the undefeated Baylor Bears to get it done on the road and remain undefeated and defeat the TCU Horned Frogs. So Baylor, bring it. And now the next matchup. It is an SEC East rivalry showdown between the Vanderbilt Commodores heading to the Swamp to face the Florida Gators. Now this is the 53rd meeting between Vanderbilt and Florida. Florida leads the old-time series 40-10-2. Now the Gators have won the last 5 meetings against the Commodores dating all the way back to 2014, and the Commodores are looking to defeat the Gators for the first time since 2013. Now, both teams are coming out very bad Week 10s in the SEC. Vanderbilt's coming off the loss to South Carolina on Saturday, coming in at 2-6, and Florida's coming off their heartbreaking home loss to the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday, coming in at 7-2. So coming from me in this SEC East rivalry showdown, man, this one's tricky. But coming from me, I'm going to go with Dan Mullen's Florida Gators to rebound and bounce back at home and defeat the Vanderbilt Commodores. Chomp, chomp. And now the final matchup in Week 11, and for me, it's the best matchup in Week 11 in the SEC West between the LSU Tigers heading to Tuscaloosa to face the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, this is the 84th meeting between LSU and Alabama. Alabama leads the old-time series 53-25-5. Now, the Crimson Tide have won the last 8 meetings against the Tigers dating all the way back to 2012, and the Tigers are looking to defeat the Crimson Tide for the first time in 8 years. Now, both teams are coming in off a bye. Both teams are coming in at 8-0, and for me, whoever wins this is going to win the SEC West. If LSU has been talking a lot about this is the year that we actually beat Alabama. I've been hearing it since week 1 from LSU fans that this is the year that they're going to beat Alabama. Well, it's time to put up or shut up. If you guys are the real deal, you guys will beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa at this matchup. Then you got Alabama looking to continue their dominance in the SEC West, and they're looking to shut down another threat to their quite possibly winning the SEC title once again and getting another shot at the national championship. So this game is going to be good. The big question is, will Tua be able to play for Bama? That's the biggest question. So, coming from me in this huge SEC West rivalry showdown in the final game in Week 11, I'll say this right now. If LSU can win this game, I'll pick them for the next 3 weeks, and I'll pick them to win their bowl game. But coming from me, I got to stick with history. And history says Alabama gets it done. So coming from me, I'm going to go to the Crimson Tide of Alabama to get it done at home, remain undefeated, and defeat the LSU Tigers in a shootout. And those are my Week 11 college football predictions. And I want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Comment below. Who do you have winning all these matchups? Who do you have winning that matchup between LSU and Alabama? Let me know who you got. And as always, represent your college football teams in the comment section. Let's have a conversation about them. Of course, I'm always on to see your comment, like it, and of course, reply right back to you because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. And I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching this video today. Now, before you guys go, as always, you guys can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with your friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. Of course, you guys can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button to become part of this bigger and dangerous alliance. And I will see you guys later tonight for my Week 10 NFL predictions. Later days, guys, and peace.